Good morning.
Good morning, everyone.
Hi.
Welcome to the stream.
Welcome to our webinar. Yes.
How are you this morning? We hope you are well and that you're enjoying your week. Let's do our introductions.
Yes, my name is Aaron. I'm from Ireland and I've been living in Bologna for 4 years and I've been working at the school for 2.5 years at Bologna Mille.
Yeah. My name is Sophia. I am from London. I have also lived in Bologna for the last 4 years. And I also work at my English school, Bologna Mille. I've worked there for 1.5 years. And today we are talking about cinema, about watching films. So introduce yourselves to us, say hello, say good morning, tell us your name, where are you from, where do you live, and tell us your preference.
Do you prefer watching films at home or at the cinema?
Exactly. And also why do you prefer at home or at the cinema?
So introduce yourselves, tell us about you, and tell us, do you prefer watching films at home or at the cinema?
Exactly.
So I'll ask you the question. Do you prefer watching films at home or at the cinema?
So in general, I prefer watching films at home because at home I have my sofa, I have my cushions, I can stay in my pajamas, I can get my tea, my drink, I can eat whatever I want, and I can relax. And I don't have people around me that possibly I might irritate or they might irritate me. So in general, I prefer at home. But recently, I have been going more often to the cinema. Well, recently, 2 months ago, I was going more often to the cinema. And so I appreciated, again, the cinema experience. Yeah. But in general, I think I prefer at home. And you?
I definitely prefer watching films at the cinema because you have a big screen, you have better audio quality, and you have amazing popcorn to eat, which is my favorite part of the cinema experience.
Yeah, the popcorn is your favorite part.
But it's a big part of the cinema experience. You know, it's not real cinema if you don't smell the popcorn.
It's true. It's true.
Also you can go with a lot of your friends as well, and you know there's a whole social part of it as well. Maybe when you're leaving the cinema, you can discuss the film and spoil it for all of the other people waiting in line
to go in. So if you're joining us now, let us know in the comments, which do you prefer? Do you prefer watching films at home or at the cinema? And also tell us why.
And we already have a response. Hi, Ferdinando.
Hi, Ferdinando. I remember Ferdinando. He says, hi, I'm Ferdinando. I'm from Navarra. I prefer watching films, good, at home. I hardly ever, switch this, Ferdinando, I hardly ever go to the cinema to watch a sci-fi film. Okay, good. You could say, Ferdinando, I rarely go to the cinema to watch sci-fi films. But I agree with Ferdinando. I think sci-fi is one of the film genres that is definitely better to watch at the cinema. Do you agree?
He says I hardly ever go to the cinema to watch sci-fi films.
Okay. I understood that when he goes to the cinema, he watches sci-fi. I understood that when he goes to the cinema, rarely he watches sci-fi films. Help us out, Ferdinando.
I don't know.
What type of films do you watch at the cinema?
Do you hardly ever go to the cinema? But when you go, you watch sci-fi films, or is it?
Yeah, we're confused. We interpreted your answer in different ways.
In 2 different ways.
But I like to watch sci-fi films at the cinema for the special effects. So, because, for example, a drama, you can watch a drama at home. It's not necessary to go to the cinema.
No. Yeah. But still, I don't know. I like. It's a nice experience. The quality is just better all around. I don't know. It's just more impressive. It's more.
Yeah. was, okay, small introduction to the past tense. What was the most recent film that you watched at the cinema? So the ultimate time you went to the cinema, what was the film? Let me put this question up as well.
I'm trying to think. Was it Star Wars?
I think you've been more recently.
Have I?
Yeah.
What did I watch?
In January, Daniel Craig.
Oh yeah, it was Knives Out. Yes,
was that
true.
the last time, or did we go? Or was it another time?
I don't remember.
Tell us also in the comments, what was the last film you watched at the cinema?
This way it will probably solve
No, it was 1917.
It was 1917. Yes, it was.
Yeah, because
yeah, the last film we saw at the cinema was 1917.
Yes, 1917 is a war film, and it has amazing cinematography, amazing photography. It was very, very good.
Very, very good, yeah.
And very, very realistic as well, and emotional. I cried a lot in this film.
So it was 1917, definitely. Okay, but then it says I go to the cinema to watch films with impressive special effects.
Yeah. So let me do some corrections here. To watch films. So maybe my interpretation was
correct. I think you were correct. Yeah, in your interpretation.
Yeah. So have a look here at some corrections, Ferdinando.
I would say impressive special effects.
No? Okay, yeah, maybe. I go to the cinema to watch films with important, or as Aaron said, maybe it would be better to say impressive special effects.
It's not wrong to say important.
No, but
it's just I wouldn't say it.
Yeah.
So.
And let's see. Simone says, "Hi, Simone. Welcome. I'm Simone from Bologna. I don't go often to the cinema." Nice.
Yes. I would say I don't often go to the cinema.
Tell us, what was the last film that you watched at the cinema? For us, it was 1917. What was the last film you watched at home?
True. What was the last film you watched at home?
The last film I watched at home was last night. I watched a Pixar film called Brave, and I liked it very, very much. It was very funny, and I also cried again in this film.
I heard you because
I was full on crying. I was proper like yeah. What was the last film you watched at home?
The last film I watched was.
He's going to get his props.
I'm going to get my props. Star Wars: Return of the Jedi.
And it was on
Episode
DVD.
6
on DVD. When you have the DVD,
you have to use the
DVD.
You have to use the DVD. So yes, I have the box set, and I rewatched for I don't know what number of times the episode 6. Yes, Return of the Jedi.
All right, so let us know in the comments, do you prefer watching films at home or at the cinema? What was the last film that you watched at home or at the cinema? Okay. We are curious to know your answers.
Yeah, let's start with our focus.
Yeah, let's do it. So we're talking about films.
A night at the cinema.
So in this focus, we've got
going to the movie theater, buying tickets and food and drinks, talking about movies.
Exactly.
This is very American, I would say. This
wording. Yeah, it's already very American because we have movie for one thing. Movie is an American word. The British version would be film.
Yeah, I would call it a film.
Yeah.
And also, the Americans call it a movie theater, while we call it a cinema.
Exactly.
Yeah, so movie is US, film UK, movie theater for the US, and cinema for the...
And I also have to do the American spelling, which is hurting me.
Yes, for us, theater is spelled with the last 2 letters inverted.
Yeah. So movie theater and cinema in the UK. Simona is here as well. Hi,
Hi.
Simona.
Hi,
Welcome.
Simona.
Tell us about the last film that you watched.
Or do you prefer watching films at home or at the cinema?
So, let's brainstorm some movie genres. I wonder if we have a banner for this. Let's brainstorm some movie genres.
There's what's your favorite, but no.
Okay, shall we do that one?
We
Just
can
put this up. Yeah. What are your favorite genres?
Exactly. So remember that this is a French word, and we use it in English, so it's the same pronunciation, genre, and it's the type of film.
Exactly. Let's see what Ferdinando says. The last film I saw at the cinema is Alita, Angel of the Battle.
I've never heard of this.
This sounds like kind of a Charlie's Angels style film.
I don't know. To me, it sounds like I don't know. I have no idea.
Are you going to Google this film?
Of course.
Can you tell us about this film, Ferdinando? Tell us about the story, what happens in this film, okay? And also,
Alita Battle Angel. I've never heard of this.
Okay, it's a sci-fi.
Sci-fi?
Nice. Did you enjoy it? Okay, so it looks like kind of half animation, half not.
Oh, no, it doesn't seem... I've never even heard of this. This is incredible.
So tell us, what are your favorite movie genres? So what are your favorite types of film? Okay, this word is genre is a type of film. This word is a French word which we have borrowed in English, okay? So you can use a French pronunciation, okay? Genre. History of the Android. Nice. Sounds interesting.
You're probably thinking of story, yeah?
Or maybe history, like how it developed.
I mean, from what I read online, it's the story of an android. Yes, because remember, history is about the past, yeah? So while if it is
invented,
it's a story. Yeah?
Exactly. And a story is a fantasy.
Yeah, exactly. But for example, you would say the story of my life.
Yeah.
Not the history of my life.
Yeah, I always say that history is something that's official. Okay, so we can have the history of Italy, for example, the history of the Romans. It's in a book. It's real. It's fact, but it's not personal. It's more official. A story is fantasy. It's invented, or it's more. If it's real, it's personal. So it's my personal story. Okay.
Exactly.
What are your favorite genres, Aaron?
Definitely science fiction. I really like. Well, sometimes I like more war movies, dramas. Why not? And what?
When you say dramas, why not? It's like you don't have to like dramas.
I do though. Like I wouldn't. A lot of the time, I won't choose a drama to watch.
Yeah.
But every time I have watched one, I've enjoyed it.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah.
So that's why I included it in there. Why not? But, you know. What else? I don't particularly like comedy films in general. There are some that I really like.
Yeah.
But in general, they're not my favorite. That's just
I don't like comedy films when the point of the film is to make you laugh. Like I like, for example, the reason I like animated films so much. I like Pixar because they are funny but without being comedies.
Yeah.
Let us know also in the comments, what are your favorite genres? I also like sci-fi and war films. I don't like horror. I really don't like horror films because when I watch a film, I want to relax. I don't want to have nightmares for the next week. And I don't like musicals. Because they are always singing. I don't understand why they are always singing.
Me too. I definitely don't particularly like musicals. It's true because it distracts from the story.
Exactly.
They're just singing.
Like we have to every so often we have to stop the story. Okay, we sing and then we try to continue.
But then I suppose we're looking at it in the wrong way, because like I think the beauty of a musical is the singing and the dancing. You're supposed to enjoy
the spectacle. Yes,
you're supposed to enjoy the song and enjoy the dance, while we're more focused on
the story.
Yeah,
definitely. All right. Well, let's look at some genres. Okay. So we have. Do you want to read them?
Comedy, horror, action, cartoon, documentary, drama, science fiction, and romance.
And we have some pictures, and we will try to match together the pictures with the genre that we can see. Okay. So take a look at the pictures. Maybe I'll bring up our other slide. And we'll try to match these together.
Yes. So,
let's see.
Good morning, Giovanni.
Fernando says my favorite genres are drama, sci-fi, and silent films. That's really interesting.
Nice. Very interesting. Yes.
Giovanni, good morning. Giovanni, welcome.
So, help us with this exercise. Match the words with the pictures. This is a very odd picture. I don't know where this is from.
Is that the Easter Bunny?
I don't.
With a golden egg?
No. Anyway, so well, we'll wait for them to give us some answers as well.
So I can see an Easter Bunny there. What else can I see?
A royalty-free superhero.
Yeah. Oh dear. Then we've got
somebody getting hit in the face with
a pie.
Is it a pie? Yes.
Looks like it. Okay.
Hilarious.
It's so funny. Yeah. Then we have.
What is the name of this type of
comedy? This type is called slapstick.
Yes, slapstick. Yeah.
Slapstick comedy is comedy where it's people falling over, people being hit. Quite an immature, very simplistic. I think in the past this was very, very funny. Now it's not so funny.
Yeah, but I can understand why they chose it for the pictures, because it's very difficult with one picture to represent.
Exactly. Yeah. Then we have a. Let's see what Giovanni says. For me, it's a history film based on a true fact. Yeah, it could be.
Maybe he's talking about his favorite movie genres.
Yes, it's a. If it's based on true fact, then yes, I would say it's a history.
Yeah. Again, I'd say historical film, but yeah.
But it's not always. So a history film could also be invented, but usually history films are based on something true. If we take, for example, the Russell Crowe film Gladiator. It's not based on a real story. It's not based on a real person. The character of Gladiator didn't exist, but the context, the general situation is true. So it's a historical drama. Okay, let's go back to our pictures and try to match these together. Shall we give them the first one?
Yes. So the first one is cartoon.
I would say cartoon.
Yes.
Nice.
So in general, I think cartoon, I would maybe use it more to describe the type of animation that is more for children, maybe?
Yeah, like a two-dimensional.
Well, not necessarily. It could be three-dimensional as well, but I don't know. I'd call it that way. I'd say a cartoon is maybe for children. While the more general term would be animation.
Yeah, I agree. I'd call it animation rather than cartoon, but I'll put them both up anyway.
But then I'm not sure what the exact official definition is.
No, me neither.
But I would say that a cartoon is an animation. But not all animations are cartoons.
Yes, I understand what you mean. For the second one, this looks like a superhero film. So shall we say action?
Maybe, yeah.
Though I feel like superhero movies are their own genre.
Yes, definitely.
There's action, which would be like James Bond, Jason Bourne, and superhero films, which are different categories.
Yes, which are a mix between fantasy and
and action.
Yeah. Sometimes they're called comic book movies. Excellent, well done, Giovanni.
Good job, Giovanni.
Sometimes they're called comic book movies as well.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, let's see.
Sorry, by the way, I'll introduce this here while we're talking about it. It's comic book. Does not have anything to do with comedy.
Yes.
Yeah, so there are two different words. Right?
Yeah, we have comics and comedy, which are separate.
So something that makes you laugh, like the next one, which is comedy. Something that makes you laugh is comedy, but a comic is a book that you read, and it's got pictures.
Exactly. Okay, nice. Let's see our others. So we've got still to do horror, documentary, drama, science fiction, romance. Remember that science fiction, attention of the pronunciation, we shorten to sci-fi. Shall we bring up the next one?
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
The next one seems to be a romance.
There we go, yeah, romance. A romantic film.
Yes, romantic film,
Good
romance.
one, Giovanni. Very nice. Excellent work.
Good job. Good job.
And then we can see our others.
We have a spaceship over 2 different planets.
This is an interesting choice for a picture, the final one. Yeah.
Yes.
I feel like it's, we'll leave it till the final one. So it's this elimination.
Yeah, but again, it's very difficult with one picture to represent the genre.
It's true.
And they probably can't use actual scenes from films.
No, I would say no. Yeah. Which one of these is your least favorite of these different genres?
Probably comedy. Probably, yeah. Again, there's some comedy films that I really like. Take, for example, Monty Python. Love those. But yeah, in general, I don't go looking for a comedy film. Like I don't go watching them. There we go. We've got some answers from Giovanni. He says E, science fiction, sci-fi, very good, and F is horror. Excellent.
Nice job.
Science fiction on horror. I think this is F is a reference to.
It could be a reference to many different things. It could be a reference to Psycho. Maybe.
I was thinking Psycho. Yeah.
It looks like because of the black and white, but as a movie poster, it looks more similar to Creep. Do you remember Creep?
No.
I never watched it, but it was about a psychopath serial killer on the London Underground.
Oh, no.
Well, maybe it wasn't the London Underground. Maybe it was the New York subway, but it was on this kind of
public
scene.
transport.
And the movie poster is very similar.
He knows Monty Python.
He does know Monty Python.
Monty Python is the best. Probably one of my favorite comedy films that I've watched was Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of some other comedies that I enjoyed, but I can't think of any that are meant to be comedies that I liked.
I mean, I've definitely liked some. You mentioned Jim Carrey in the previous.
That's true.
I really like him as a comedian, but again, like
Bruce Almighty, for example,
Bruce Almighty
is a comedy drama, which is very, very good.
Yeah, definitely.
Anything with Jim Carrey, really.
Anything with Jim Carrey is good, but. Should we finish the last two?
Yeah, let's give the last two. So we will say documentary
and a drama.
Yeah.
Remember, the drama has one M. I remember somebody earlier writing it with 2 M's.
Also, if we have a documentary, which, however, is about somebody's life, so it's about somebody's personal story, we call this a biopic. Okay, it's a combination of 2 words: biography
and picture. Yeah. Because sometimes in English we can call a film also a picture.
Exactly.
which is confusing, but
So biopic, a biography plus a film. Okay, so a film
Mhm.
about somebody's life. A very famous one that came out recently is Judy, the story of Judy Garland with Renee Zellweger. Exactly. Okay, I think we did this question
Exactly.
already. So we
Continue.
will look at some films and say what genre they are. My favorite, attention, Giovanni.
My favorite scene is when the fat man explodes at the restaurant.
In Monty Python?
Maybe it's one of the skits.
Maybe in one of the skits that we haven't seen.
Yeah.
Because I don't remember it in the film.
No. He's probably referring to the
TV skits. Yeah. Okay, so we will see some films and we will guess or find the genre.
Mm-hmm. Now, I don't think that this genre is here.
No, I don't think so either. We have a missing genre.
Yeah, definitely. Because I would not call it any of these genres.
No, definitely not. He says yes in Monty Python.
I must be one of the
probably in the TV skits because it's not in the films. We have to watch them too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we haven't actually seen the TV skits that they've done. We've only seen the films.
So I would say for Harry Potter, we need to say
I'd say fantasy.
Fantasy, yeah, absolutely. For Harry Potter, maybe also action, but really it's a fantasy.
It's a fantasy film, yeah.
Let's see this one, How to Train Your Dragon. I have never seen this film.
I haven't either, and I think there's a 2 or possibly a 3.
What do you mean? Oh,
they've made
yeah. There's 2 or 3 of them. So again, fantasy.
Yeah. And well, tell us in the comments if you can.
What other genre would you put to this film?
It's by DreamWorks, which is a great studio for this kind of film.
Absolutely, yes.
Another great one is Shrek.
Yeah, but I feel like Shrek is much higher quality than How to Train Your Dragon.
Definitely. Shrek is the best.
Yeah, absolutely.
Shrek is love. Shrek is life.
So yeah, I'd say fantasy, maybe comedy, but the most important one for this
animation.
Animation, yeah, I agree. Let's see another example.
Yes, the classic.
Of course, it would be impossible to have a focus about films without mentioning this one.
Titanic.
Yeah.
I would say that Titanic is Leonardo DiCaprio's worst film.
You're going to have to explain yourself.
So, I'm talking about as an actor.
He's like 16 years old. Give the child a break.
But okay, but still, if you look at it from an acting perspective,
okay,
in which film? Like,
he was good as an actor in this one. What was wrong with him?
I know, but if you had to put it into okay, he's a good actor in general. Like all of his films are good.
Yes.
But if you had to make a top list where you've got the best films at the top that he's made and the worst films at the bottom,
I think you just don't like a Titanic.
I do like Titanic. I think it's a great film.
I don't agree with you. I think he did a good job acting.
I'm not saying he did a bad job.
Okay.
I'm just saying that compared to his other films.
Okay, yeah.
This is probably
because he got better as an actor. Absolutely. Like this was right at the beginning of his career. 3 hours of film. You know that I have never watched the entire film of Titanic.
And then here you are defending him.
I always start this film when they hit the iceberg. I always start when I've watched this film.
You've missed like the most important.
Yeah, I've watched this film maybe 5 times in my life, but I never watched the whole film. I always start with the iceberg. So, at the end of the film with the necklace where she throws it into the sea, I have no idea what that necklace is and what the symbolism is.
So you've never actually seen Titanic?
I mean, I've seen most of it. I've seen the important parts.
But the important parts are before the ship sinks.
Anyway.
Spoiler alert, guys. The ship sinks.
What? We'll say drama.
Drama, yes. Drama.
Historical drama.
Historical drama.
And
yes.
also romance.
Also romance.
History, drama, and romance. There we go.
Also, sorry, can you go back a second?
I don't think I can.
Sorry, because I think it's a French poster.
Oh yeah, and the next one is a lot of drama, Giovanni said.
Yeah.
And the next one is either Spanish or Portuguese. Look.
Oh yeah, it is.
I've never heard of this film.
I have never heard of this film either.
Is it a documentary?
I imagine so.
It says here documentales.
I imagine that it's a documentary.
Let's say documentary. Either that or it's a terrible, terrible action where like people have to fight against mutant orcas. Yeah,
I think I think it's probably a documentary.
Oh, here we go.
Avatar. Have you seen this film?
I've never seen Avatar.
Oh my god.
So I'm thinking fantasy, science fiction.
Science fiction.
Definitely. Okay.
How can you? This is, I think, in the top 3 best, like, highest selling movies of all time.
I know. It doesn't mean it's good.
No,
or worth watching.
Doesn't mean it's good. Avengers Endgame is in the top 3. It's actually probably number 1.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and never mind. Anyway, I'll keep my opinions of Endgame to one side. Anyway, yes, science fiction.
Okay. Anything else that you would put here?
I would put maybe.
Is it a romance?
There is romantic elements in it,
but it's not a romance.
But it's not a romance film. No, I suppose also a drama.
Okay.
In some parts.
All right. And this.
We have The Hangover. I think this is quite. Clear.
With our god Zach
Galifianakis.
So I would say a comedy.
Definitely a comedy, yes. And Bradley Cooper as well.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of the third guy.
No, me neither. But...
I've only seen The Hangover 3 for some reason.
Really?
Yeah.
You haven't seen the original Hangover?
I haven't seen the original Hangover. I went to see because again, I don't usually watch comedy films. I only went because my friends were like, "Oh my god, 3's out. We need to go see it." And I was like, "All right."
You thought they would have learned after Hangover 1, but no, they did it again and again.
Exactly.
All right. So we'll say comedy for this one. Yeah, I would say definitely horror.
I think so, yeah. So this, I think, is one of the classic horror films.
Yeah. Have you seen The Exorcist?
No, I haven't, but I've heard a lot about it. So it's probably very good. I don't know. If you have seen The Exorcist, please in the comments tell us, was it a good horror film?
Yeah.
What is your favorite? Yeah. What is your favorite horror film?
I'm a big fan of zombie films. So I like horror films like, well, actually, World War Z, I don't think is a horror film.
Not really. It's more of an action film.
But there was a Spanish one, or...
this is a classic horror. Yeah, I thought so too.
I think it's a Spanish or Latin American horror film called Wreck, where there are zombies in a building and the whole film is recorded on a handheld camera, and it's the firefighters who go into the building to try and see what is happening. It's very, very scary and very, very good as well.
Okay.
Because you've got the whole atmosphere of, obviously you can only see what the camera is pointed directly at, so you see it as if you were in the building. Johnny
says, for me, it is a good horror. Excellent.
Yeah,
are you referring to the original or the new version?
Yeah. I remember saying on a similar focus, be careful, Giovanni, of to not repeat your subject. It is a good horror. It is one of the most scary films I have ever watched.
I'm actually curious. I'd like to watch it. It's
not with me. I will not watch it again. Shall we go on?
Yeah, why not? We have Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines.
Is this a science fiction?
Yes.
Okay. But it's also action.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, science fiction and action, I would say.
No, I haven't.
I think so. I've definitely seen Terminator 1 and Terminator 2 and Terminator Genesis. But I can't remember if I've seen Terminator. I can't remember now. Maybe I was very young. The new version for me is amazing. Yes, I've heard very good things about the new version.
It's a very, very good horror. Even I, who hate horrors, admit that it's a very good horror film. Okay, shall we go on to a quiz? So, what are film times called? Okay, so when you go to the cinema and you see the program, what do we call this? Do you know what these are called?
The showings.
Exactly. Show times or showings?
I would call them the showings.
Also, if you were listening at the beginning,
let's see if they remember.
Yeah, do you remember what is a film called in the US? Yeah.
Also, I had a story to tell because you were saying story time while they answer the question. So tell us in the comments, what is a film called in the US? Let's see if you remember. When you said about you've never actually seen the beginning of Titanic. Also, we say the beginning of Titanic. It's about 2 hours, the beginning of Titanic. Like, they only hit the iceberg maybe for the last hour or so. So you've maybe seen a third of Titanic. But anyway, I went to see Solo, a Star Wars story, at the cinema. And I was late because I had a problem with the bus. So I arrived about 5 minutes late. So I didn't see the first 5 minutes of the film. Later, I went with some friends. Later, I went with my mum as well to go see it at the cinema. And for some other coincidence, we were getting food and we were also 5 minutes late to the film. So I missed the first 5 minutes again. So I basically entered the cinema at the same exact time that I did the first time. The only time I actually saw the initial 5 minutes was when I showed you the film recently.
And then you watched the first scene. I
actually saw the first scene. I'd actually seen the first scene I had to Google it. I went on YouTube to watch it because I hadn't seen it. But yeah.
No, good.
Okay. Anyway, the film is called a movie. Yes. It can also be called a picture as well.
Yeah. Let's practice again some times. We have 2 different versions to tell the time in English, one easier and one a bit more difficult. The easy version that we can see here would be to read the numbers 10:45.
And this is very easy. I would highly recommend it to anyone. And it's more common, I'd say, in the States.
Yeah. The more complicated way, which is possibly more British, would be to say 11:45. This one is quite simple. This one is...
Also, I would say just 11:45, without 11:45.
Yeah, I think you can just cut it, yeah.
Here we have 8 o'clock.
It might be AM, it might be PM. I imagine if you're going to the cinema, it's going to be 8 PM.
This is very common. So a lot of Italians especially like to specify AM or PM in every single situation. Most of the time, it's not important.
Yeah, it's not necessary a lot of the time.
Again, if I'm telling my friend, hey, do you want to come to the cinema? There's a film at 8. It's not going to be 8 a.m.
Exactly. Sometimes it is necessary to specify. So, for example, if I say to my friend, do you want to go to the gym at 8? It might be 8 a.m., it might be 8 p.m. So there I might need to be more particular.
But we usually use in the morning or in the evening instead of a.m. or p.m.
Exactly. And here, again, similar to the first example, we have 2 versions, 8:30 or 8:30.
Exactly.
Then let's talk about ways to pay. What are these called?
Do you know? Tell us in the
Yeah,
comments.
can you think of what we call these two different ways that we can use to pay for our tickets, for example, at the cinema?
Yeah, so I was trying to think of any other vocabulary with times, but no, they're called showings and
Yeah, showtime, showings.
oh, the place where you get your tickets.
I would call it in the cinema. I'd call it the box office.
Yeah, I'd say the same. The box office.
Maybe somewhere else in the theater or in a stadium, it would be the ticket office, or in a station for transport, it's a ticket office.
But usually in the cinema, it's called a box office. So the place where you get your tickets, or where you pay.
Yeah. What else would you find in the cinema? Obviously, you need your ticket. And you need also your snacks, which we will look at on the next slide.
Anyway, let's give them the answers, I suppose, at this point.
So we'll have cash for money. And the next one will have our card. It might be a credit card. It might be a debit card. Oh, excellent. Thanks, Giovanni.
Thank you. Cash or card?
Or card.
Excellent.
Good job. Okay, let's look at a dialogue. So here we have the attendant or the assistant, let's say, and the customer. And we have a conversation at the box office. Shall we read the conversation?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll be the attendant.
I'll be the customer.
Here you are. Enjoy the show.
I'm paying with card.
Sure. Which showing?
Okay.
No, wait.
Are you... Oh, sorry.
Okay. Are you paying cash or card?
Hi. Can I please have 2 tickets for Journey Home?
Hello. How can I help you?
7:30 p.m., please.
Well,
that was a big problem.
There's a problem here.
I did not understand that.
No, because the conversation is not in the correct order.
So what you will do is use the letters and we will put the conversation in the correct order. Okay?
Yes, so tell us the letter combination of the correct order.
Yeah. Let's look at some vocabulary in the meantime. We have enjoy the show. A show is, I would say, like a spectacle.
Exactly. It could be a show, again, at the cinema. You have a show at the theater. It could be, I don't know, at the circus. It could be a show.
Exactly. So a spectacle or maybe even a performance. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, the circus is another good idea.
If you're watching a concert, that's also a show.
Also. So anywhere where you have a spectacle, you have to watch something, you have a show.
It could also be someone reading poetry, spoken.
Yeah, spoken word.
Spoken word, or.
I think I can't think of any more vocabulary. We have to pay, so to give money and receive something. The rest of the vocabulary should be fine.
Remember that money is uncountable, so you would say, how much is it?
Yeah.
Not how many.
I think I would start, because the attendant has more, I think I would start with the attendant. I'm trying to put them in order.
Yes, I definitely start with the attendant. Usually when you step up, they talk first. Also, I've never seen an attendant dressed like the lady in the picture.
Oh, I have.
Yeah?
Yeah, definitely.
Maybe they're a lot more casual in this country.
Yeah, no, it depends on which cinema you go to, but in a lot of older cinemas, yeah, they will dress like that. Yeah.
I'm trying to think, but I suppose I've never gone to like smaller, older cinemas. I've always gone to big.
No, I have seen them dressed like that, but if they might not even be in a cinema, they might be in a museum, maybe.
Yeah,
in
maybe.
A picture.
Yeah. The strangest story I have, when I went to the cinema to a new cinema that I'd never been to before, and serving drinks and popcorn and stuff was my English teacher at the time.
Oh my god, that's so strange.
Yeah, I know.
That's so odd.
So she had a second job at the...
Wow, that's quite sad.
Yeah.
Fernando has this order. I think he might be right.
So he says, hello, how can I help you?
Hi, can I please have 2 tickets for Journey Home?
Sure. Which showing?
7:30 p.m. please.
Sure. No, wait.
Okay.
Okay. Are you paying with cash or card?
I'm paying with card.
And here you are. Enjoy the show. Yes, I think it's correct.
That makes perfect sense. Nice job,
well
Ferdinando. Good job. And here, in fact, is the correct answer. Lovely.
Well done.
So let's go on. And shall we skip this and go straight to talk about food? Because this is the important thing. So we've got some vocabulary on the right. We have popcorn, soda or pop, sweets or candy, and chocolate bar.
Yes. Remember that the differences here are again between American and British English. For example, with sweets and candy, sweets is what we would call it in the UK and Ireland, and candy is what you would call it in America.
Yeah, and the same for soda and pop. I wouldn't say soda or pop. I would say British fizzy drinks. Okay. Soda and pop are both quite American.
So please tell us in the comments which letter would you connect these to the pictures.
And we could also talk about what do you like to eat. Actually, that will come up. But what else can we think of that you eat at the cinema?
What else do we eat at the cinema? Also, those sweet. Oh, yeah, they are.
What else do you eat at the cinema?
Well, crisps.
Yeah, crisps, absolutely. I think at the cinema, I will more likely eat crisps than chocolate bar, for example.
Yeah, definitely. But I know some people get a chocolate bar. Yeah.
Or maybe like nuts, salted nuts, peanuts, or something you could have at the cinema.
What else could you have at the cinema? I suppose some people just drink water.
Yeah, definitely. Or especially in the summer when I go to the open air cinema, I like to drink a beer.
Nice.
So it's quite refreshing.
Have you ever gone to one of those drive-in?
No, I don't know if they exist in the UK.
No, I've never seen them. No, yeah.
That must be such an amazing experience, though. You just drive in your car and you watch a film.
Yeah, from your car. It's a strange concept.
It is, but it must be really, really fantastic.
Popcorn, of course.
Popcorn.
But tell us, what letter is it? What picture is it? I agree, by the way.
Yeah.
While Fernando says, I don't like eating at the cinema.
Okay, interesting. For me, it also kind of depends on the film, but especially if it's an action or a fantasy, then I like to have something to eat.
For me, it's part of the experience. I need to have the popcorn if I'm at the cinema.
Also, nachos. You can have nachos at the cinema. I feel
like it's a bit messy.
Oh, it's messy. Yeah. It's super messy. I've never gotten it personally, but it's very common. But it is definitely messy because I don't know if you've ever seen it, but the cheese is it's not just melted cheese, it's liquid cheese. It's really strange.
Let's complete these. A is definitely soda or pop or a fizzy drink if you're in the UK. B, popcorn. C,
chocolate
bar, and
candy or sweets. Yeah. Sweets. And tell us also, what do you like to eat at the cinema? Well, Giovanni says popcorn. Of course, Ferdinando says I don't like to. Yeah.
Excellent. Shall we review some vocabulary?
Yeah, let's do that.
So we're towards the end of our lesson.
So we'll go over some vocabulary that we had. So working backwards, remember, as we said, soda and pop are more American terms. In British English, we would say fizzy drinks.
The show is also a spectacle or a performance in general. The place where you buy tickets is the box office.
Absolutely. Talking about show or spectacle, remember we said it could be the cinema, it could be the theatre, it could be the opera, anywhere where you watch something, a concert. What else did we talk about? We talked about another genre which we didn't have in the slides called fantasy.
Yes, and we also talked about the time you watch the film. That is the showing, or the what was the other word?
Showtime.
Showtime.
Yeah. Another genre is a biopic, so the story of somebody's life, biography plus picture together.
Picture is another word like film or movie to talk about a film.
We talked about the difference between history and story. Okay, remember that history is real, it's not invented, and it's also quite official. So we talk about the history of Italy, the history of the Roman Empire, the history of a war, for example. But
story is something usually fantasy, invented, or that has a personal value to you. It's about your life, or
exactly.
Okay, I think we're. Oh, sorry,
yeah, sorry, I was just going to do the pronunciation of this word. Remember that it's French, so genre.
Excellent.
All right, guys. Thank you very much for watching our webinar.
Yes, and for joining in. Thank you, Ferdinando. Thank you, Giovanni. And we'll see you next time.
Bye guys. Thank you.